Bene. Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's a nice, beautiful, cool morning here on the res. And before I get my coffee, let me go let out the chickens. Ooh, a little chilly, but not too shabby. But anywho, today's May 1st, 2025, and I'm gonna, I guess, vlog my gardening journey here in Eastern Agency on the Navajo Nation in Northwestern New Mexico. But here's my garden I've been working on for a bit. You could probably hear my goose getting ready to, wanting to be let out. Come on out, ladies. Hurry up, goose. You're holding up the line. All the ladies will be making their way out. Let me see. Yeah, Dawson. Their food, their water, everything's out. I got 2 hens that are broody. They've been sitting on the eggs for about, one has been sitting for about 10 days. The other went broody about 4 days ago. So I think it takes about 21 days on average for incubated eggs to hatch. So I have 2 roosters for 34 hens. So we'll see what happens with all that. But anyways, this is garlic, hardneck garlic. It's doing pretty well, except for this side. There's softneck garlic over there. It's not doing well at all. I'm actually gonna rip it out of the ground. I have a lot of grub worms that are in my soil. So I've been working in the garden for the past couple weeks. And what I've been doing is I've been removing the whole top 5 inches of the soil and then replacing it with some peat moss, some compost. And I did 1, 2, these 3 are done. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go. And just in this raised bed right here alone, I think I pulled out about 400 grub worms. They eat the roots of plants. So my best educated guess is all the grub worms are over there eating the roots of the softneck garlic. Hey, Broody. Good morning, Broody. That's Brutus Maximus. He's my cat. And then there's Bailoff over there. Hey, Bailoff. I started tomato seeds indoors about 10 weeks ago. I used to have a TikTok shop greenhouse over here, and the plan was to plant my peppers, jalapenos, and cherry tomatoes in that high tunnel to get a really early start on the growing season. However, we had a crazy winter storm where we had 70-mile-per-hour winds, and it blew that greenhouse away, and it wrapped around the utility pole. Well, the TikTok shop greenhouse is no more. It was over here. Now it's way back there. The tomatoes, the peppers were not doing too well inside, so I decided, well, let me let them have a shot out here. So I did plant them out here, and I cover them every day with mason jars. If we do have a crazy snow cold snap again, they're not gonna make it, but just giving them a chance out there. Oh, goose is so loud. Now, this is my raised bed section. I grow tomatoes, vines on the trellises, and then I grow more of the tender crops, beets, carrots, lettuce in these raised beds because that's where the soil's richer. And then turning around out here, this is my orchard, and I'm starting to convert it into a food forest. So I have 2 nectarine trees, 2 plum trees, 3 apple, 2 peach, 2 pear, and 1 apricot. This is a golden plum tree. It did bloom early, and I think it bloomed 3 weeks ago, but unfortunately we had that one snowstorm. So all the blossoms froze off. And that goes the same for the 2 nectarine trees. Just when the blossoms were about to open, it froze for about 4 days. So all the blossoms just ended up dying before they could even open, which is unfortunate. I attribute that to their varieties. they have a low chill hour requirement. So once they get that chill hours, like maybe 400, 500 hours below 4 degrees Fahrenheit, the next warm spell, they bloom. And these 3 always bloom early. And out of the 8 years I've had them, I've only ever had fruit 3 times because of the weather. But meanwhile, I have another plum tree. This is like a purplish maroon plum tree. This one blooms later. So it blooms 2 weeks after those guys did, and it's gonna be full. There's a little plum right there. It's gonna have a lot of plums on them. That goes the same for my pear trees. They bloom later, which is what we want here in the high desert. So we're gonna have some fruit. My apple trees, oh, they're kind of struggling. They're had some flowers. They'll produce some apples, but not that much. This orchard, I used to have the chickens. They had access to this whole area. And right now the chickens, they're in this new fenced off area that I created a few months ago. It's just completely barren dirt. They had access to this orchard for just under about 1.5 years. And chickens are great at clearing weeds, eating the weed seed, using their manure to fertilize the ground. However, too much manure is bad for the soil. It's alkaline, it raises the pH, and it's also kind of salty. So my fruit trees were struggling last year, and now that the chickens are moved out, I'm putting a lot of effort and attention and nurturing these fruit trees, because this is the whole purpose of what I'm doing out here, to grow a lot of food. So some of the fruit trees, they're doing well, some of them aren't. But I did build these boxes with landscape timbers because the soil was eroding really bad around them, to raise it up. And I filled it with compost. I make my own compost with the chicken manure and using straw. For example, like you can kind of see how much higher the tree is as opposed to the surrounding ground. So I was like, how do I fix that? Do I need to bring in a lot of dirt? And I said, I don't want to, that's so much work to do. So the alternative was to build these recessed basin pits. I used a broad fork to break up the ground, and I shoveled out, everything I shoveled out, it went on the pathways. And they're coming up to be about level with the landscape timbers. Here's a better example. So you can see it's level. And I want my pathways to be higher, the highest point in the land. So whenever, if there's any rain or anything, it's just gonna run off the pathway, and it's gonna go into the basins where the plants are. So that's what I've been working on for the past couple weeks. Yesterday, I did plant, I planted some grapes like a few days ago. I'm trying out one of the jalapenos, see if he made it overnight. I have more jalapenos inside I need to plant outside. Some Carl Forester grass my aunt brought from Utah. She brought 2 big clumps, and I was able to cut it into 10 pieces. And I also had some salvia from the front yard. I just dug it up yesterday. It was not happy. I divided it into, I think, 7 pieces. And what else am I doing out here? Underneath all the fruit trees, the boxes, I did plant a cover crop mixture. So it's trying to come out. There's peas, triticale, winter wheat, daikon radish, clover. Here's a better example. I planted all the seeds at the same time. Oh, there's some mustard in here. However, the chickens, they escaped last week, and I think they're out here for like half an hour. They scratched and they munched a lot of everything. So they should have been more lush and farther along, but the chickens, man, they had a buffet out here. But I digress. So out here, this is being converted into a food forest. It has the fruit trees. I put some grapes in. I have some blackberries over there. I put a jalapeno in. So out here, this is like a demonstration on how to garden out here in the Southwest with all these basins to catch rainwater, perennials in here, annuals, vegetables. Upcoming project I still need to do out here is to make more of the recessed basins that way where it's all fenced in. I probably have about halfway done, so I just gotta get the broad fork out there and start breaking the land and start making more pathways and more basins. And this is gonna be the main focus of 2025, really getting this going established in the beginning. All the hard work is in the beginning. So I do have other gardening projects elsewhere, but this is going to be the focus of my labor this year, is getting this food forest ready and getting it operational to grow a lot of food. And I do have irrigation out here. I have 2 irrigation lines that did feed the trees at one point, and then I had another garden over there. So I'm going to redo these and hopefully have each plant out here have its own individual drip emitter, and the trees themselves will have their own irrigation line with micro drip tubing under all the boxes. These raised bed boxes, they all have irrigation as well. I just gotta hook it back up. And then this was supposed to be a greenhouse high tunnel. It's gone now, so the ground's still okay. What I want to do is open up the fence. The tiller's attachment's already on the tractor. Back in the tractor, and just maybe by that blue pot pathway, just till along these T-posts, and maybe about 3 feet away from the tree. Till it. The ground's a little higher over here. Level it out and plant probably. I could probably do 4 18-inch wide rows in here, or 3 4-foot wide rows. I'll see which is which, but I'll probably do onions, potatoes, maybe garlic in the fall out here. It's just gonna stay open planting. If I can somehow ever get a high tunnel, like a good one, I'll put it out here. I wanna go through NRCS, but you have to already be growing something there. You just can't put up a high tunnel in a new garden spot. You have to be growing there. So I'm gonna grow there this year, and maybe I can get approved and apply for a high tunnel next year. But moving on from the raised beds, the food forest orchard, let's check out the chicken area. This horse trailer is where we store our trash. And then this new area, it's just for the chickens to hang out in. Not much in here. The ground's really rocky, really poor. And out here in Eastern Agency, the soil is so poor. We have, I think my last soil test, 7.8 pH, 0.6% organic matter. It's just really sad. It's like chalk, basically. So I like to have the chickens out here for a year, and they'll eat all the weed seeds, they'll poop, and they'll fertilize a little, and then I can rotate them elsewhere, and then I can start working in here. I don't know if I'll transfer the orchard, the same thing over here. There is a gas line here. There's a water line underground, so I really can't have as much trees. Look at this guy. Are you just trying to be Mr. Tough Guy? Oh, it's mating season. He doesn't have a female though, although he does have the female duck. Yeah, it's neither here nor there. But anyways, out here, this is where I also do my composting. So this is, I got some cow manure, horse manure from a neighbor. I mixed it with the straw from the chicken coop, and I had the pile over here, and I've just been moving it little by little. I haven't touched it in a week. I need to add more carbon, more straw to it, because it was getting stinky. So work in progress. Over here, this is, I call it my ZeroScape Garden. Now, originally the intention of this was to make this the least amount of work garden, but it actually turns out to be the most time consuming because of the wind we have here. A lot of silt builds up at the base of plants, and every spring we have to spend time with the tractor shoveling out silts, and then tumbleweeds just get stuck in it. It's just too much of a hassle. So I'm gonna maybe leave that one. That one's not as problematic. However, here in the front yard, this is the problematic one. My wall, you can see it's like almost 8 inches of silt, and having this raised island planter, it doesn't work. Again, it's just too much time and effort. So little by little, I'm going to start removing all of the stone blocks out of here. And I have a landscape project I'm doing for a friend in Crown Point, so I'll probably use half of these blocks in their garden. But once I remove all the blocks, I need to get the shovel or backhoe and start digging out the yucca, the paraskia, Russian sage, especially the bigger ones that are more established. Once I remove all the rocks, all the plants, I'm just gonna scrape it flat with the tractor and then maybe even have it a little recessed and then I can plant in there again. But having a raised bed out here, it's just not it. And then this poor tree, this Bradford pear, it's slowly dying, it's struggling. I wanna dig this up too and put it with the orchard so it has a lot better chance out there. So that's what's going on with this island. Well, that's one project. Another one is out here where there's Bailoff now. I have grown corn out here at one point, pumpkins, but my family and I let it fallow for 2 years. We didn't plant the past 2 years. And I tilled it to soften it recently. And what I plan to do, if I have the time, I really want to create a beautiful, large market garden out here with the 18-inch wide pathways and the 30-inch wide rows. So one row plus one pathway is 4 feet. So everything will just be in 4-foot increments. And I do not have the compost I would need to get this soil where I want it to be. So what I plan to do is to at least mark out half of this area with the rows and then take out some of the dirt in the rows and put them in the pathways to recess them a little. And then I have a bunch of cover crop seed. I want to put it in the rows and just this year, just let them grow, the cover crop seeds. Let them grow, let them live their life. Then when winter comes, they'll die back. And then next spring, they'll have that root in the soil on the top, the plants that died back. It'll act as a mulch, it'll insulate it. So it'll be a way of adding organic matter to the soil. Because if I had the money and time to put compost out here, I would, but I have to go at my rate. I don't have much money, so cover crop, it was like $60 for a huge 25-pound bag. So that's what I plan to do out here, start with cover crops. So I'm starting to garden now for next year and I'll see how that works out. And I might plant some zucchini in maybe one row or some peppers or potatoes, I'll see. But we'll see when we get there. But I need to make a decision soon because planting season's here. We start planting in about 2-ish weeks. So I gotta get going on that. But moving on from this area, this is kind of another wish list I want to accomplish. Out here, this is an abandoned foundation. My grandfather, so this is my late grandparents' house. When he was building his house back in the early 80s, he got approved by the tribe for the veterans to build him a house. So he abandoned this project, his foundation, and it's been like this for like 40 years. So I want to do something over here. The foundation still looks pretty good. It's just concrete blocks, and you still have these, I don't know what these are called, anchors, bolts for the 2x6s to lay on. But I don't think I would build a house out here on this. But what I want to do is I want to build what's called a wallapini. It's like a greenhouse that's like maybe 4 feet below level, and it faces south, which is wonderful. It already faces south, and it's gonna be solar, geothermic. I would have to drop the floor, build a structure, and then trench out where I'm walking, have 6-inch diameter plastic piping down there. Based on the volume of this greenhouse I want, I would have to run X amount of linear feet of that tubing. So the greenhouse would operate on geothermal. Fans would push the hot air underground, and at night it can come up during the day. Or vice versa, in the winter, the heat generated from the solar can be stored underground, and then at night when it gets like 5 degrees, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, it can be, the fans kick on and it can pull the heat out of the ground. So that's a big project I want to do. It's gonna be very expensive, but I hope to accomplish it someday. That's on my wish list. Last, I guess, this is just a scrap over here. This was an old hogan my grandpa built. He didn't build it very well. The foundation is the same as what he did at the other structure, but there was just no upkeep on it, so it eventually just collapsed. And we don't come out here, so the octagon foundation still looks to be in pretty good deal. It has a dirt floor, so I want to get this operational again. And I don't know what I'd build. I'd build a hogan again, but what would be in there? Would it be like an Airbnb, maybe an office, home office, gaming? And since I'm getting into the content creation, maybe that could be like an office or something, or hybrid. I don't know, but I think I would build the greenhouse before I'd build that hogan. But we'll see what happens from here on out. And well, I guess not last, but well, it is really last now, is my front yard. It's in dire need of repair. It's just falling apart. My family and I, we actually use the back entrance to go in and out. We rarely use the front door, but it needs a lot of work. It used to be beautiful at one point, had grass, but there was an old handicap ramp here. It just started rotting and falling apart and splitting. And then I use these landscape timbers I got from the garden department at Home Depot. They're not rated to last more than 5 years. These have been in here for like 8 years, and they all started rotting. And I actually use these for some of the boxes around the fruit trees. So this all needs to come out, and it all needs to be redone. So sometime this year, we'll take down the fence, and I gotta get the tractor backhoe in here, dig out these huge mature Russian sage or Perovskia, and put them elsewhere on the land, because this all needs to be just taken out. And the only thing that will stay is the very large cottonwood tree, but everything's gonna go. The plants, this pathway, the deck needs to be kind of rebuilt. So I don't know when we'll get to this project. But as with any home, gardening, I don't know, homestead project, there's so many things to do. It's just, you know, where do you want to focus your time and energy on doing all this? But yeah, this is the canvas for what will be going on out here this growing season. So if you want to see what myself, my family can accomplish with this awful piece of land that the government put us on, then follow. So I'm gonna get dressed, have my coffee, and the chickens need probably some cut up lettuce soon, and then I just gotta get back in the garden. So I'm gonna do that now. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, as they say. I'm gonna get my day started. 비가 고시 늦은 고시.